I'll be talking about international trade and marketing, and as world population nears the 9 billion in the next few decades, farmers will need to increase production on fewer acres and fewer inputs. And this means farmers will need to have a vast need of latest technology and management practices that we can have to put in our toolboxes to use. This is very important to us. This means farmers will need to have a lot of different applications that we can use to increase production, but still mitigate on our lower inputs. The vast majority of our world crop production utilizes crop varieties with biotech developed traits. And this has created controversy in both domestic and international markets surrounding the safety of such crops and how they should be labeled. Increased trade contributes to better marketing opportunities for our producers, but if U.S. producers are shut out of markets because of anti-GMO and labeling restrictions, the world population will not have an adequate supply of food. Farm Bureau believes strongly in fair and open world trade, that crops produced with biotech traits are safe and will be critical to meet the needs of a future demand. We believe as new traits are developed, though, they should be thoroughly tested through the use of sound science, and when deemed safe for public consumption, should be aggressively supported by both federal domestic policy and our international trade negotiations. So I have two questions for you, and the first one is, what efforts would you support to open new world markets and expand existing markets for U.S. agricultural products? And the second one is, what are your views on how foods containing GMO crops should be labeled for domestic markets and treated in international trade agreements? Thank you.
Secretary,
I'll go first.
you go first.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you very much, Fritz, for that question. I think it begins by having a jobs plan. I'm the only candidate in this race that has a jobs plan that is looking out for our farmers to actually level the playing field, end the currency manipulation that we have with China. It brings billions of dollars into the United States. It helps to grow jobs and our gross domestic product while reducing the deficit. Mitch McConnell, well, again, we're left to wonder because our senator has yet to show up. Kentucky is amazing in that we are helping to literally feed the nation. $2.4 billion worth of exports, top 5 exports ranging from tobacco and wheat, corn and soybean. We must do more. I believe in free and open trade, but it must be fair trade. For me, our security in this nation, well, I don't want us to be dependent on food the way we are with fuel for other nations. Our Kentucky farmers, they are literally keeping Kentucky and this nation going and growing in the right direction, but we need to have a senator that has the jobs plan to put them first. We need to have a senator that realizes, as a West Kentucky farmer most recently told me, when I'm a supplier, Allison, things are great, but when that market is cut off to me, I have to fight like the Dickens to get the market back open. We need someone fighting for each and every one of our farmers. Come boom or bust, someone that is keeping the market stable. When it comes to GMO products, I realize that there are benefits, real, substantial benefits. I'm not for overburdensome regulation, but rather for making sure, as the Kentucky Farm Bureau does, that each and every one are based on sound science and not overburdensome regulation or emotion. But together, it requires somebody who is actually in touch, not out of touch with Washington, someone that wants to fix the mess that we have here in Washington and putting our farmers first. Each and every one of us know the mess we have right now in Washington. It's not helping our Kentucky farmers access, especially markets abroad. Together, we can change that. We can make sure that we have a senator that fights for our farmers and our farm families.
Yeah, well, first let me say Allison's friend and supporter, Harry Reid, must not have told her about how party leaders typically deal with committee work. Harry actually resigned from all of his committees because you don't have time to do justice to committee work if you're one of the party leaders. You're involved in other issues, much more, honestly, much more consequential issues than being there for a particular hearing on a subject that may or may not be relevant to what's going on. She had two visitors so far in here, Debbie Stabenow, the chairman of the Agriculture Committee, and Elizabeth Warren, both of whom have been virulently opposed to things that you believe in. Sound science, for example. In the House version of the Farm Bill, they inserted a requirement for sound science. Both Debbie Stabenow and Elizabeth Warren worked to take it out. Your question, Fritz, was about trade. The AFL-CIO supports her. They're opposed to all the trade agreements. We've done 3 trade agreements during this administration. They were all negotiated by the previous administration. They don't even have trade promotion authority on the books, which gives any president, this one or any other president, the ability to negotiate a trade agreement and get it across the floor. My guess is, given her mentors, the AFL-CIO, she couldn't give you a straight answer on trade because she probably wouldn't vote for any of the trade agreements if we had any to consider. This has been the most anti-trade administration in memory. Not a single trade agreement, no trade promotion authority, nothing. When the trade when the trade representative came by for his meeting with me on the way to being confirmed, I asked him if he thought he was going to have anything to do. The biggest winners of trade agreements are American agriculture, and her supporters are totally opposed to everything you believe in on trade. So I don't think you'll get a straight answer, Fritz, from her on trade. On GMO, certainly if you're going to have GMO labeling, it needs to be voluntary or it needs to be consistent. And I think what your concern is that various states will start passing standards. And the implication will be that if your product is a non-GMO or GMO, it somehow has some implications as to whether or not it's healthy food. This is a tough issue. A lot of the Europeans are using this in order to protect their own market. So we need to work consistently on this and make sure that the products that you produce are not discriminated against with faulty labeling.